You ready?
Mm-hmm.
The Spanish announce table.
Episode 366 of the Spanish announce table. A lot of wrestling to talk about, man. We had day one-ish. We had AEW Dynamite. There was some GCW that happened. There's some NXT things that happened. There is some news. There's some stuff that you want to talk about, which you do by Tweet the Table. And that's Tom. I'm Tim. That's a bloody hangman here. I sent this picture to a friend of ours, Todd Countryman. And I sent him that with our thumbnail for the show. And he said, that's me trying to watch Raw. And it was so relatable.
That's just
Shout
you
out
trying
Todd
to, yeah, and that's just anyone trying to explain the business practices of WWE, which I assume we'll get into as well.
Oh yeah. Oh, we're
you know what I
talk
mean?
about that.
Like to say, hey, I saw in the news, what's with all the firings of these wrestlers? And you got to be like, well, so, like, not anymore. You just got to say, that's what I say to them.
The Spanish announce table.
I think I just ran our logo again because I'm awesome at what I do. But Tom, listen, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Tom, do you have any crazy news to talk about before we get into the mother-loving news and inform everybody of what's happening around the world in pro wrestling?
Quick note that I'll say. I started the Moxley Autobiography. I don't know if I've talked about that yet, but fantastic book. It is written 1,000,000% in his voice. There is no ghostwriter. About more than halfway through, gonna probably finish it up this week. Very good book for any pro wrestling fan. I would definitely recommend go out and read it.
All right, nice plug. All right, so hottest news we could find. If we missed your favorite story, we don't give a shit. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
WWE released Samoa Joe, Timothy Thatcher, Danny Burch, Kathy Carino, Hideki Suzuki, and referee Scott Armstrong this week. Also released were Road Dogg Brian James, William Regal, Gabe Sapolsky, Ace Steel, Ranjan Singh, and additional backstage employees. And holy hell, man, they really are, and we'll talk more about this, they're killing anything that was used to be NXT / WWE, PC almost.
Yeah, or anything that has Triple H, ties to it. It's all Triple H's guys and girls, but it's all Triple H personnel.
Yeah.
Which, here's the interesting thing if you want to follow that conspiracy theory. For the longest time, even while he was injured, he was getting paid. So if this whole clean house of Triple H and all of his buddies continues, where does the rubber meet the road with HBK Shawn Michaels? Because Shawn Michaels and Vince are BFFs, we've always been told.
Yeah, well, I mean...
So does he get the axe because he's Triple H's, BFF and running NXT? Because, I don't know, that's an interesting decision if we're going with this conspiracy theory.
Well, especially if the idea is like, you better play ball or I erase your legacy from...
Yeah. Everything.
Literally like, oh, can't find a Shawn Michaelson? God, that must be a Peacock technical issue.
Yeah, that stinks. That sure does stink.
We'll
Here's what I'll say, though, about these releases. One, poor Samoa Joe. That poor bastard. I mean, how many times does he have to get fired?
Okay, let's talk. That one happened tonight. Before we're recording, I had to rewrite this news story. Jesus, man. How many times... were people calling for, let's rewind the clock 10, 12 years ago, more than that maybe, and say, like, how many times were people like, Samoa Joe, WWE should get Samoa Joe. They sit around, never do it. Finally get him years later, but everybody's like, all right, cool. And then they're just like, we don't know what to do. And then it's
his
like
NXT
injuries.
run was
and then,
good.
And then his NXT run was good. But then, like, everything
start and stops.
Other than that has been just, there's been great moments.
Right.
But just... nothing ever really get behind much.
Now here's the thing, though. Let's play a little fantasy matchmaking here. One of the signature matches of Samoa Joe's entire career was in Ring of Honor when he had his Iron Man matches with one CM Punk. We know that CM Punk and Samoa Joe are still friendly. I don't know if they're BFFs anymore, but they're still friendly. Do we see Samoa Joe have a little fun run over in, AEW and have Bryan Danielson and CM Punk and all of those guys?
I mean, maybe, but that, I don't know, man. Samoa Joe gives me the feelings that he would just rather be done.
Well, I think he wants to be involved, but he may not want to be the champion. Let's go to each and every city. I'll do the morning radio. I think those days are behind him.
True. I mean, backstage roles are, going to be equally as needed over there. Well,
so here's where the second most interesting firing in my book goes to Gabe Spikolsky, or however the fuck you say his last name.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He used to run Evolve, right?
Yeah.
And Evolve before pandemic was the hottest, coolest thing in the world, right? You had Matt Riddle and Keith Lee and Johnny Gargano. Right. That's why they hired him. Look, I'm not.
Yeah, but he did that before with ROH with the same round of guys.
Right, but what
that
I'm
we're
saying
discussing
here. What I'm saying here is, so Gabe did that whole like feeder system for AEW, right? And then, for WWE. And then sometimes you would see the Street Profits go down to Evolve and they would wrestle Eddie Kingston and Joe Gacy, right? If I'm Tony Khan, I say, hey, Gabe, looks like you know how to run the independent scene pretty well. Want to try that again with AEW? And then you just have
with ROH.
AEW be the main thing. And then you grab guys from AEW and your new Evolve 2.0, what I'm saying, which would be like JD Drake, which would be like Gabe did that Eddie Kingston, and you kind of just flirt with bringing him or bringing those guys in and out while building up your next generation of wrestlers. I don't know, Tony. That seems pretty good to me. Gabe knows what he's doing. You seem to know what you're doing.
Yeah. Some of the more interesting ones, like you said, is Sapolsky for that reason, right? Like he's got to be his knowledge and his expertise have got to be wanted. And then the Brian James, like it just felt like it was like that guy's been there for a while, many times. I mean, yeah, he was Impact for a while and was shitting on you, but like
but that was when he was going through some personal demons. It seems like he's got on the other side of that, and so again, that's another
Armstrong referee. Like he's been there forever. Ace Steel has been there a long time, but like everybody loves that guy. Like you know what I mean, local guy. You know what I mean? Like everybody loves that fucking guy.
And you know who everyone loves that is actually getting pissed off? William Regal. That's the one where everyone's getting pissed off about. Not pissed off, but like,
I just thought
man, that one sucks.
He'd be the guy that would die on the clock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
going back to Moxley's book, another guy that he puts over in almost every chapter. I mean, respected by everyone.
I don't know that we've seen anybody say anything bad about Regal. Have you?
The only thing that I can think of that might be like a air quotes bad look for William Regal was when he kind of fought Goldberg when Goldberg was trying to do his run in WCW. Other than that, it seems like everything else has been on the up and up. Yeah. But look, do William Regal and Gabe have them run an independent for Tony Khan and AEW? Man, that's your new everything, right?
Hey, I said we need a solid number 3 so
and
that
there
the
it
number
is.
1 can fucking die. All
right.
Let's just move on, huh? Universal Champion Roman Reigns tested positive for COVID this week on the day he was set to appear in the main event of WWE's premier live event, Day 1, in a title match against Brock Lesnar. Lesnar instead was inserted into the WWE Championship Fatal 4-Way, which he won, making him the new WWE Champion, while Reigns was medically cleared today to return to SmackDown.
And then if you and then if you fast forward to Monday Night Raw, the first thing that Brock Lesnar says after Bobby Lashley gets the opportunity to face him at the Royal Rumble is, "Tell Roman I'll see him on Friday." So we already fucking know what we're doing. I mean,
it's weird.
Can you just...
And they're unifying that, right? Like they're going to have a single champion again.
You know what? No, this is what I bet happens. They're going to flirt with each other. Roman and Brock, that is, right? Where Brock
coming
goes...
for you, boy. He's coming hard.
Right. Brock comes on Friday night and says, "Where's Roman?" Roman plays a little hide and seek. Monday, Roman goes on Raw, says, "Where's Brock?" He plays hide and seek. And then at the Royal Rumble, Roman Reigns costs Brock Lesnar the match with Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley gets the championship. Now Brock is pissed off and he goes after Roman Reigns for the fucking blue belt at WrestleMania.
Yay. WrestleMania. All right.
Yeah.
Interesting though. Hey, he's medically cleared. Great, because we were worried when we saw it. We were like, hey, listen, guys, compromise, which they've acknowledged.
So, but here's again, and whatever. I'm tired of acting like it's the wrong thing to do, but that's the reason you get vaccinated. It gets out of your system quicker, right? Like you are healthier and can recover quicker when you're vaccinated. That's a fact. So that's how he came back so quick.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm done trying to be nice.
It's so silly. I'm not arguing vaccines, and I'm not arguing gravity. Those are two things we fucking know about. Okay.
Well, listen, man, that's what the round earthers want you. All right.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Former AEW wrestler Big Swole, in an interview this week, claims she left AEW recently because of a lack of diversity, amongst other reasons. AEW founder and CEO Tony Khan responded on Twitter denouncing those diversity claims and saying he simply did not think Big Swole's wrestling was that good. Controversy followed on social media with fans and wrestlers sharing their opinions online. And Tom, I imagine your opinion is similar to mine, but let's hear it.
Well, so I mean, even as of the New Year's Eve or our New Year's show where we made our predictions, I said Keith Lee as AEW champion because they have a lack of diversity at the top of their roster in the men's division specifically, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the men's division specifically, very much, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Big Swole is not incorrect. If you are a minority trying to watch AEW, there are a few options you have, but the majority is white dudes who were friends for 10 years, right?
She has even said, I think in that same interview, that even the diversity that's there on the African-American side, it's viewed in the African-American community as like forced and kind of a joke.
Yeah.
That's what Big Swole said, right? I'm not
right. And now you go on the other side of the coin, and if you read that tweet from Tony Khan, the front end of that, he is making valid claims about diversity in the executive level and even people that are on TV.
Sounds now where he curt, right?
But where he fucked up is he's speaking out of both sides of his mouth, because when Big Swole said, "Hey, I'm leaving," he said, "She's a great wrestler. Wish the best for her." Now all of a sudden, well, she was never good enough. That's why I didn't re-sign her. Now you sound like a fucking
She's a bum.
Yeah, exactly. Now you sound like Aaron Rodgers when people talk shit on him.
We have said this about Tony Khan, that he appears to be a little chippy. He appears to take things personally.
And this is I think a lesson where Tony Khan has to maybe treat his Twitter like Vince McMahon, where it's "Happy birthday to my father. Happy birthday to my wife. Hey, got a big show on Saturday." And that's all we're fucking hearing. We're not getting the "I'm constantly online. I got to respond to Big Swole," or "I got to respond to, Fox News talking about ratings." It's like you're getting to a place now where you're not the upstart underdog. You're getting to be an established entity, and you got to act accordingly. So I hope this is a lesson learned where shut your mouth, right? Just shut up a little bit.
Once in a while, you just got to shut the fuck up, right? Like,
especially because in that instance, it's all a matter of opinion too, right? Like,
yeah, and you're never going to look good. Look, we've said it. There's a lack of diversity in many ways there, and so she's right.
Mm-hmm.
I also didn't think her wrestling was amazing. It's fine, right? Like, it's fine. So when they let her go, I was like, oh, yeah, that was probably not a difficult decision. Mm-hmm. So, which is not to say she won't be and isn't athletic or anything like that. That's not to demean Big Swole or her work. But it's just that, like, they're both kind of right, but they both sound kind of chippy. And like it wasn't as amicable as they made it sound when they.
At first, right. Yeah, exactly. Because, on one, again, if you want to look at this in different angles, yeah, she wasn't setting the world on fire and having the best gimmick of 2021. So like you said, when she said, I want to be done, okay, bye. You're not, we got a lot of other spots here. And then on the other side, Tony Khan can say, we've got Anthony Bowens, Max Caster, Jade Cargill, other minorities are also represented with Thunder Rosa, Nyla Rose. Like, you could say minorities are represented, but then that's where this argument is bad, is because we can cut this pie 15 different ways to make it whatever argument we want it to fit.
Sure.
And that sucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when you got to just be bigger than it.
Right. Yeah. Typically, when you're a billionaire multi-CEO, you typically are the one, though, who recognizes that and don't say things in response on Twitter. Typically, look, I know we had a president who kind of went against that, but typically people who are in charge of shit have a little bit of
decorum,
higher than thou stance, you know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway, I mean, hey, his choice to not be that, I'm not going to knock him, but hey, all right, here we go.
Well, I am. It's not good.
Right, yeah, well, it's not a great look, I'll give you that. All right, we'll move on. WWE seemingly killed the Cruiserweight Championship once again as NXT's New Year's Evil saw North American champion Carmelo Hayes defeat Cruiserweight champion Roderick Strong in a title unification match. However, moving forward, NXT will refer to the Unified Championship as the North American Championship. So it has kind of absolved the Cruiserweight Championship into that.
I haven't watched 205 Live since Enzo.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. So I know one thing, though.
Enzo.
I saw on Twitter that there was a 205 Live match.
They put Enzo on it.
Yeah. But I saw a 205 Live match advertised on Twitter as a promoted tweet. And the guy, who I don't know, sorry, but he was like 320 pounds. He was like top dollar type of big. And I was just like, 205 Live, are we serious now? Like, I don't even know who this guy was, but I was just like, so we're just giving up on this.
205 adjacent.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting move. But again, much like with Samoa Joe, they just never really knew what to do. Mm-hmm. They never really knew what to do with that Cruiserweight Championship either, in any of its forms that they really had. I mean, they had some mild moments, I'm sure, but like it was never a moment like it was in its infancy in WCW.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right, we will move on again. Rey Fenix suffered what is being reported as a badly dislocated arm at the end of AEW Dynamite's main event this week. Brian Alvarez reports that Fenix needs an MRI to check for ligament damage, but it appears Fenix will miss some time for healing.
Oh, and we'll get into it when we talk about our recap of an amazing episode of AEW Dynamite. And this main event match for the tag team championships between, at the time, champions Lucha Bros and Jurassic Express, who is now your tag team champions, was outstanding. And unfortunately, I think as great of a moment as it was to see Jungle Boy and then his mother and I believe his sister celebrating, and then he kind of, takes in the moment and realizes what he just accomplished, I think it was a little bit overshadowed by, we just saw Rey Fenix grabbing his elbow and then Penta immediately taking the pinfall and just sliding out of the ring to go check on him. So yeah, I hope he's fine. And it also seemed like, and again, we'll talk about it when we do our recap, but the lights went out in the match, and the lights also went out when Lucha Bros went to go help out Brian Pillman Jr. when Malachi Black was beating him up. I think we're alluding to Malachi Black and Brody King versus the Lucha Bros, but maybe not, because Rey Fenix might have to wait 2 months or whatever it is. So
yeah, unless
bad
Pac's
timing.
got nothing to do, but I don't know if he can be there right now.
Yeah, who knows with Pac? He's hit and miss. I never know if he's in the country or in quarantine.
Yeah, who knows? All right, well, doesn't get much better in this next one. Here we go. Jake Atlas signed with AEW this week and nearly immediately suffered a knee injury on AEW Rampage tapings. Atlas went down while trying to complete a springboard and needed several officials' assistance to get backstage. At this time, there are no reports on the severity of the injury. That's shitty timing.
Which, hold on. Spoiler alert. You didn't say who won, I guess. Yes, I saw
it happened
that
on the Rampage tapings.
Right, yeah, but we don't know if Adam Cole won or if it was Jake Atlas. We're kind of assuming with that news who did win.
There, Mr. Spoiler.
Well, he said that he was going to wrestle him on Friday.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
So, yeah.
Well, it's hard to win when you need assistance to the back.
Yeah, but man, that sucks so bad because to get a match that you had on Dark advertised on Dynamite obviously means that they have some plans for you. And for your first match just to be a blown out knee, man, so sorry for you. Because I like him. That little finisher that he does where he jumps on the rope and then does like the 2 steps on the top rope and then DDT. That's a fun move.
And to your credit there, the blown out knees, typically a long recovery. It's not it's not like hey, 6 to 8 weeks, we can get you back in the ring. No, it's like, oh no, you're out 8-9 months probably.
See you at Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah. If it was a light or light ligament damage, sometimes you might get away with like 6. Like, hey, we'll get you back out here on the treadmill in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Or 6 months, All right, fuck it. Anyway, well, good luck to him. Good luck to him. Here we go. Matt Jackson and Brandon Cutler both tested positive for COVID this week and did not appear on AEW Dynamite, though they were not publicized to make an appearance. Matt's brother Nick was deemed a close contact and was also not backstage at Dynamite. Hey, it's time, folks, as you said earlier, Tom, get your goddamn shot. Wear your fucking masks around. Don't go to places you don't need to right now, right? Like, it's time to maybe not go bowling this weekend or, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, everyone's mind is made up. We're not changing anyone's mind by giving advice, unfortunately. I will say this, though, about the Young Bucks. I like how they announced it, where they're like, book ourselves strong, executive vice presidents, and then just the last sentence is Matt has COVID. And then that's all. They just, that's the only thing they did to acknowledge it, and they just moved on. Yeah. COVID is very serious. It's still killing, thousands of people a day. Mm-hmm. I will say, though, they have said that they are vaccinated. So I don't expect them to be out or to suffer any type of,
particularly with this new variant. Like if you've been fully vaccinated and boosted.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Although people still are getting, significant cases,
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I'm not saying everyone's safe that does it because, again, with mutations comes.
I'm just saying it's time to rethink the idea of like, hey, maybe for yourself and for others, if you don't need to do something right now, don't.
Yeah, but everyone's mind's made up.
Don't.
Though. I know.
No
one's going to listen to us and be like, oh, yeah, so then fuck it. I won't go bowling.
Them guys with the fucking bloody Hangman Adam Page picture behind them, those guys really make a lot of sense.
No one's changing their mind. We'll go to our favorite talking head and get our information from them and blah, blah, blah. Anyhow, hopefully everything's fine, though, because, again, they have a big storyline, it looks like, brewing with Adam Cole and Red Wagon. So we'll see where that goes.
I love that Kyle O'Reilly was like, cut it, Landon. Like he's like, he gets it, but he doesn't know the guy's name quite right yet. He's like, but he gets a shit on this guy. All right, fuck this guy.
Yeah,
fuck you, guy.
Fuck you, Landon.
Yeah. If I hadn't seen you, Tom, in like 5 years, and we meet up somewhere, and you're like insulting a guy nonstop, I'm just gonna start insulting that guy with you, right? Like it's just gonna be like, oh, this chump, this asshole.
Yeah.
Look at this fucking nuts. Look at this fucking dork. What a nerd. All right, let's get into a story here. Sounds fun. WWE filed multiple copyright claims against rapper Westside Gunn this week. Gunn is a noted pro wrestling fan found in the front row of many wrestling events and was most recently in the news after former WWE ring announcer Greg Hamilton publicly attempted to extort Gunn over the use of Hamilton's voice on a rap song under threat of using WWE's lawyers. Hamilton was released from WWE for his actions. That's so
what's
fun.
The story
That's
with
the
this
best
one, though?
part. That's the best. They just told him they'd have some of his stuff taken down from YouTube, and got copyright claims on him. I don't know if they're suing him or what, but like the best part for me is like Greg Hamilton gets fired because they're like, don't fucking say we're going to sue that guy. And then they turn around, they're like, we're fucking suing that guy. And he's like, am I still fired? Like, yeah, you're still fucking fired.
Idiot. We have to follow through on this now because we don't want to look.
Yeah, now
weak,
we have to
but
now everybody knows we bitched out and didn't fucking sue this guy.
Yeah.
Because of you. All right. Yeah. What a bitch move though. Like work with the guy or something, right? Like
yes. He has a very big following in the rap community. Fun fact, wrestling's not the greatest niche interest in the rap community. So why don't you take advantage of one of the better rappers in that industry being a fan of yours?
Yeah.
He's
can always
obviously
be Future and shit. Whoever.
Yeah, and he's obviously friends with other wrestlers because if you check out Big E's Instagram or Big E's Snapchats or whatever the fuck it is, and same with Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston and the Usos and so many other people, they're hanging out with him. So like, why would you piss off your talent who are friends with them and then also look stupid to a community that you already look stupid to? So it's like, what a bad look all around. You guys are so fucking dumb.
Stupid. Yeah, they
but
really
what?
are.
You need money? You fucking Eric Clapton assholes. Did you hear the Eric Clapton story, by the way?
No.
That fucking miserable twat. This fucking douchebag. I'll tell you a quick sidebar. This is what makes me think of the WWE. This fuck, who's an amazing guitarist, but a fuck of a person, this guy sued a lady who lost her husband to make money, found an album of Eric Clapton's, put it on eBay for $11. It happened to be a counterfeit Eric Clapton recording, like a CD, or I think it was a CD. He sues the lady, and now she has to pay him like $30,000 to $40,000.
What a dick.
Over an $11 counterfeit eBay sale of your fucking music, you twat.
Yeah, what a twat.
Yeah, and that's exactly what WWE's doing here. Like,
that's the shit that, yeah, exactly.
You're so fucking petty because you guys are such greedy dickheads.
Yeah, this isn't the person you go after, right? Like,
yeah, it's just such a stupid look all around for both.
Can't find a way to stop the streams.
Yeah,
that people find your product illegally on, but yet you can send a cease and desist to West Side Gun, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You
tough guys.
I just hope anyone who made this decision gets athlete's foot in their asshole. Like, you fucking dickheads. You guys are fucking horrible
How does one
people.
get athlete's foot in the asshole?
I don't know, but that's what I want them to fucking. They'll figure it out.
I bet fucking people in WWE know how that fucking happens. All right, one last news story, Tom. You ready? This is a very special news story for long-time listeners here. Tom, you ready? You ready? Mm-hmm. Especially one of them. 2 nights ago, the Kansas State Wildcats defeated the Louisiana Tigers 42-20 in the bowl game there, and I wanted Big Josh to know that.
Let's clip this and just send it right to him. Yeah, we're going to clip this. Hey, so for any other new time listeners or long time listeners, obviously looking at Tim here on the YouTube stream, he is a K-State Wildcat fan. They beat LSU. Friend of the show, Big Josh, is an LSU fan. Yeah. So we're just rubbing it in one fan's face because that's what happens when you become a part of the community. We'll give you a little dig if we know something will bother you.
Yeah, and then speaking of the community, another way to get involved is to use hashtag Tweet the Table, which you see above us right here, right? Obviously, that's on Twitter. You go on there and you just tell us what you're thinking anytime throughout the week about pro wrestling. If you're watching a show, if you're watching a bowl game, and you're like, I bet that guy's fucking enjoying this game.
I love that you used the news story to talk about K-State.
News stinger. I've been very cordial this whole time. I waited to make sure they won before I shit. Somehow cheapens it, doesn't it? Like, oh, that was real nice until we won. Then I was like, you suck.
Yeah. What a sore winner.
Does L stand for losers? No, that was an interesting game. Like, bowl games already anymore in college sports are meaningless half the time. And then they only had 38 scholarship players, which is like half of what you're – because not because of COVID. I think for the most part, they're LSU players. They're like, we're going to go to the NFL, so, like, we don't give a shit. Some of the K-State guys are like, well, we're trying to make it there, so, like, watch us ball out, right? That kind of thing. So, yeah, I think everybody knew that going in. They didn't have a scholarship quarterback playing. They had to take a wide receiver and put a quarterback in. So anybody who's ever watched a football game knows that's probably not going to work out well for you.
Yeah, and LSU, correct me if I'm wrong, that's the school that just got the Notre Dame coach who has a fake Louisiana accent.
Oh, this is one of the most annoying parts is, so he's not coaching that bowl game. They have an interim guy, but they interview him during like the third quarter or something, I can't remember, maybe second quarter, for like 10 to 15 minutes up in the booth and never talk about the action that you're watching on the game. There was an interception. There was a fucking touchdown. Like all of us K-State fans are flipping out. We're like, hey, great that you're talking to like next year's fucking coach for LSU as they're getting stomped here. Like, shut the fuck up, man. But again, it's ESPN, so it's all about the SEC, right? Like you got to pump them up. So, but that was fun, it was bowl games, football. Everybody loves the football.
Yeah, even though, you don't play with your feet. I mean, you play with your feet, but you don't kick the ball unless it's a field goal or kickoff.
Well,
but
now we'll let kids take money from other people, but we won't pay them directly. Principles.
Speaking of principles, you guys need to add the principle in your life of using hashtag tweet the table. And we've got some hashtag tweet the tables to talk about, Tim.
Yes, we do. Like Katie, the first lady says, first wrestling on TBS Network in 20 years, and it's a bloody spectacle. Hashtag AEW Dynamite, hashtag tweet the table. And we will dig deep into some of the more particulars throughout the show of AEW Dynamite on TBS, but I loved it.
Did you see they got over 1 million viewers on their first night on TBS?
I did not see that.
They reached over 1 million, which they've done before on TNT, but again, for them to be on TBS for the first time and to have that kind of a rating speaks to how good Turner is to AEW and how good AEW is to Turner.
I thought a bloody spaghetti-headed hangman out there to...
Oh, my God. What a great match. The whole show was just spectacular. The only thing that I'll say, and again, we'll talk about kind of a match-by-match breakdown, but it had 3 title matches, right? So there was a TBS championship, crowning the first ever TBS champion. There was obviously the heavyweight championship match. And then, as I mentioned here, the main event was a tag team championship match. All fantastic matches on the first time on TBS. Saturday, they have Battle of the Belts with those 3 belts not on the show.
Yeah. Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I did love too, though, is like they didn't change up any of the feel or the, the look. Like this is, they brought the party to the new network, right? Mm-hmm. They just brought the same
credit
party.
to them. Yeah. They stayed true to who they were. I liked it a lot.
Good decision. Cause I don't think it's played out yet. Right. But let's go. It's on the same topic as that Devil Vamp says, damn, I loved almost about everything in the first ever AEW TBS. Hashtag Dynamite. But those cuts to the roster at the end were absolute shit, as well as more during the show. I don't know. Come on, people, get better at this point. It's been 3 years. Hashtag tweet the table. He's always been critical of their behind the scenes, cinematography.
Oh, and so have
work,
we.
And they miss a lot of shots still, I think. I mean, he's not wrong there. And I think there could be a lot of improvement that would be noticeable in that regard.
Yeah, and I agree with him. I like that the tag team, again, we'll talk about it, I guess, a little bit quicker when we do our match breakdown. But, yeah, at the end when Jurassic Express wins, then all the tag teams come out. I like that because it's kind of like, once you beat the ultimate boss, then you have to look back and face all the bosses that you defeated to get to this point. And I like that. But to his point, yeah, they cut to Chris Jericho, who was just like looking at himself and then ends up clapping. Santana and Ortiz that are in a suite, not really paying attention. And so it was like, some of these shots you didn't fucking need. Stay on 2.0.
Well, you got one of the ass boys like doing a weird dance or something. And look, they were on Dark, or maybe it was Elevation. I forget which one this week. They have to be the ass boys.
They are the
Can we
ass boys.
please, like, can we, like, is
They're
this
the
part of the
ass boys.
transition? Like, they're going to be the ass boys, right?
Yeah,
like,
they're
he's
gonna-
wearing the shirt, and they're like, Dad, right? Like, they're gonna latch on, right? Become the ass boys, right? Please.
And you know who created that saying on Twitter was Danhausen.
Right? Yeah.
And fun fact, Danhausen is now a free agent, so
Yeah, when
wouldn't
is
be
he cleared
shocked.
to medically wrestle? Didn't he, like, break?
Oh, he broke
his
his leg,
leg?
but
Yeah.
he can easily do some spooky shit to the ass boys on Dark and Elevation to get himself over. You know what I mean?
Do some spooky shit to the ass boys. It's an episode title, maybe.
I like it.
Yeah, that could have been done differently, but I mean, again, maybe that was they needed to buy time because of, oh shit, this match ended a little quicker.
That's
than we
true.
thought.
That's true. But again, just know your shots. Know, like, hey, this is our plan. So, like, Chris Jericho and others, just be prepared that the camera could come to you, kind of thing.
Well, the thing is, like, yeah, it probably was like, hey, last minute, like the last 59 seconds, you guys are going to run out there and be like, yeah, fuck you, gotta give you the throat slash, and then we're going to cut. And then it was like, oh shit, he broke his arm. We've got 2 minutes. Get out there. And now they're like, I did the throat thing. Now I don't know what to do with my hands, right? And then it was like, do I put them in my pockets? That's kind of what we got there, is what I felt like at the end of there. So,
I agree.
I kind of gave him a pass on that particular one. The rest of the show to me felt great. I loved it. Loved it. All right, we'll move on. Maybe we'll move on. All right, here we go. At Theo75 says, no Roman Reigns on hashtag WWE Day 1. Pay-per-view is still going to be great. Hashtag tweet the table. And it probably wasn't. I'm going to be real honest. Didn't watch it. I mean, I know what happened in the, Brock Lesnar won a title. And
I watched the main event. Once
again, a New Day member's title run succumbs to Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
And
you wanna
Big E
talk about-
lost more singles matches than he won as the champion. Like twice as many. Ridiculous.
I will give Paul
Ridiculous.
Heyman credit though. On Raw the next night. He put over Big E as if this was a transformative champion that should be remembered in the,
Grandpa
Hall
gave
of
him a pep
Fame of
talk.
WWE. Yeah, that was perfect. But then again, you look on paper and you're like, well, he lost to Lashley. Then he also lost this one. Then he also lost he took the pin. That was the other thing that I thought was silly is, okay, Brock Lesnar wins the championship. He can't pin Kevin Owens or Seth Rollins. I understand we're building this
Seth
Bobby
Rollins.
Lashley. Yeah, but like,
Pin Seth Rollins like he's the guy who everybody gets the fucking shit on and he gets madder about it, and that's his fucking character.
yeah,
He's uniquely designed to take that pinfall because Kevin Owens fucking screwed him over somehow.
Well, on Monday, I watched the Fatal 4-Way, which no one died, so false advertisement. But
Nearly
Kevin
fatal
Owens,
four-way.
Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins
They're
are
gonna
still
die early
working
from
together.
fucking CTE. So
Easy. All
Okay,
right,
so maybe that was a little dark.
yeah, I got a little too close to
That
home.
was dark elevation right there. It was so dark.
But like, why are they still working together as it still doesn't make sense anymore, like what they're doing. So maybe they go after the tag team champions. I don't know, but like,
Probably
That
not. They probably
ship has
paid
sailed.
Kevin Owens a lot of money and promises.
well, it's fucking failing because he's looking dumb. He's not looking like the cool Kevin Owens I remember. He looks like the
agree.
dumb fat guy that just follows the orders of Seth Rollins and hugs him
Sounds like it.
sometimes.
Yeah. Anyway, here we go. At Katie First Lady says, WTF? Hey, if this means Lesnar versus Lashley at Mania, I'm in. Hashtag tweet the table. All right, so here's my take on all the whole Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, right? Everybody's super excited to see it. And I guess, I mean, I get it.
I get it.
I get it.
Yeah. I like it.
Just
You
for
didn't
that
like it?
match. Like I'm gonna like it just for that match. But the whole story is gonna be, come on, big boy, let's fight. And then there's some reason they don't fight. The managers fuck around. You know what I mean? Like,
But that, you just said it kind of as a drive-by there. That's the part that I'm looking forward to. MVP versus Paul Heyman on the microphone.
God. So
while
that,
just
yeah,
two,
okay, I didn't think about that. I forgot about MVP in the scenario.
Yeah, while you just look at two fucking bodyguards stand behind them. That's what I'm into.
Oh, and they're both good at practicing the line.
Mm-hmm.
To fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To give you a fucking Hogan point, right?
And if you saw on MVP's Instagram, as soon as Bobby Lashley won his match and then, they get on the road to the next town, he tweets out or he posts a photo on Instagram of someone holding a microphone. So he's ready. He's going into this with Paul Heyman like, I'm bringing my A game. And Paul Heyman is his A game. So
hey, look,
I'm excited for that.
MVP
can bring it. Now, MVP can also...
Yeah, but I bet he hangs a time or two with Heyman in this run.
That's what I'm excited for. That's what we're going to get some...
like, there's so many ways they could go with this thing, too. So it'll be interesting to see what is said and how they hype it up.
But this is the thing that WWE is going to shit the bed on, is they're going to stumble into a great promo that's going to be the memory of January for the promotion, but all they care about is Roman and Brock. So they're just going to get to Royal Rumble, wipe their hands off it. Hey, we gave you what we want. Now you're going to watch what we want. And then we're going to be pissed off because now we're going to want Lashley, Lesnar too, because of MVP and Paul Heyman, but they don't want to give that to us.
Yep. MVP, they'll split MVP and Lashley, and they'll move.
Oh
MVP
yeah, the Hurt Business will turn on Lashley, and at WrestleMania, it's going to be Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander with MVP taking on Lashley.
MVP's managing Braun Breaker when he comes up to the main roster. All right.
It's Braun Breaker. I don't even get that.
I mean, it's not a name. Like, what the fuck is it? Sounds like a Hasbro children's fucking board game or something. But anyway,
it sounds like what Donkey Kong beats in the first level of his video game.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
And Rick
defeated
Steiner.
Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
He's like an abominable snowman on ice.
And now, like, I didn't watch the match. I saw two highlights of that thing. I saw where Rex Steiner, I'm not calling him that fucking name, Rex Steiner kicked the old logo of NXT to basically say, like, you're fucking done forever. And then I saw Rick Steiner, his father, come into the ring and celebrate with him. So what the...
Apparently Ciampa shook hands with him on his way out after losing. Went over to Rick Steiner and, like, fucking shook hands with him.
But, like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, we can't call him fucking Steiner? Probably because they wouldn't work a deal where if it's Steiner, they couldn't own it.
I don't know. It just feels... It's the dumbest fucking thing in the world. They're such a stupid company.
I want that kid to do everything that kid should do, but what he should not do is whatever the fuck they have him doing. And, like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to see that kid be let loose to be a Steiner. You can see he has the Steiner blood in him. He is that guy who probably chugged 14 fucking beers in the parking lot before he came in there and is ready to fucking party like he's goddamn Gronkowski. That's the feeling I get from the guy, and they should let that loose. But they're not gonna. I don't know what the fuck this is.
I don't know.
Call him a Steiner. Like, he is a Steiner. Everybody sees it. Everybody knows it. You acknowledge it. Fucking what?
That's the part. Is if when you acknowledge it, then what the fuck are you doing now? I get if you're like, nope, don't give a shit that you know. Because, again, not everyone should be their father's son or their,
Sure.
Right, I get it. Be your own person. If that's what you went into the company saying, like, I want to be my own person. Well, and even that, like, if this guy, which I don't know his real name, but again, Rex Steiner is what I'm going to call him. If he's like, hey, I'm not really cool with my dad anymore. Scott, my uncle, I don't really like him. I want to be a wrestler, but I don't want to be associated with them. Okay, cool. Right? Like,
yeah, right.
We could know.
We probably wouldn't have Benoit's son have Benoit's name.
Well, but like, look at Bray Wyatt, right? Like, we don't say he's IRS's son.
Right,
he's Bray Wyatt. So, like, be your own character. I'm not saying that, like, if you're the son of a wrestler, that's what you have to be.
Right.
But when you do, like you said, every fucking thing, and then you bring in his dad. Yeah,
he just doesn't have the fucking headgear on. Like, he's all but every, like, if he's got a fucking wear a spiked fucking leather jacket, and I swear to God,
give it time.
He says, "Bite me, man."
I'm telling you, give it time. He's going to have an angle where Von Wagner puts his head in the stairs and kicks it, and he's going to have an ear situation, so he's going to put on the fucking
He's going to go on
headgear,
a run after that.
and then he's going to go on a run with the fucking headgear. And we're like, who does he look like? I don't know. I've never seen anyone like this. Hate that company. Fucking bullshit.
Well, good. So we've asked fans. We've said, why the fuck are you still watching it? Like, because that would be a lot of thing we hear back from people. Not that, like, we engage in these conversations, but you see the conversations online where people are like, well, they make the most money. They by far the most ratings, so they're doing something right. And it's like, okay, well, then I want to talk to you people who are providing them that money and ratings. Like, why the fuck are you doing it? And tell me why. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand. At Mr. Fourth Row said on Twitter, he says, honestly, I'm only watching WWE on the big events. And I still think the Van Dyke on Randy Orton looks good. Hashtag tweet the table. And he's wrong.
The what on
the
Randy
Van
Orton?
Dyke is facial hair.
It's called the what?
The Van Dyke. That's what he
Dick
said.
Van Dyke?
I don't know. But whatever. If that's what he called it, that's what he's referencing. Okay. And it doesn't look good on him. So, yeah, I'm not fact checking here, but I think you're wrong.
Tim, I got an idea. I'm going to throw this to you live on air as we're recording on YouTube, and this is going to be on our podcast stream momentarily. I think we need to take to the streets. In the political landscape, you see on both sides them infiltrate the other side and be like, what, do you support Donald Trump? And they try to get the Trump supporters to say like why they support him, right? And then even on the other side, they go to Bernie, thing, why do you support Bernie? He's a social, all that stuff, right? I think we need to go to the Royal Rumble in St. Louis, and we need to record. I'll be the one that answers it. You can record it. And I just want to ask every fucking person that I see that walks into that goddamn building, what do you like about this show? Yeah. What is it that you like?
What are you excited to see, and why are you excited to see it?
Besides the nostalgic fact of it's Royal Rumble, and maybe that's the reason, right? When I was a kid, I always wanted to go to this event. Now it's in my hometown, and so I wanted to go. Hey, can't really hate that.
Find out what the feel is.
But don't you kind of want to do that?
But that dies. You get what I mean? That nostalgia dies.
With me.
Right.
Well, I mean with others, but like that's what dies.
I could bring my kid and they might get hooked, but like they're not, they're shown they're not doing a great job of hooking the characters anymore. So like, no, they've talked about, I think I read this before too, like they liken it to MTV, like when you just go meta into yourself and go like, look, remember you used to love us, we used to be cool back then, and then we just repackaged it and gave it back to you. That only works one time. And then you didn't build the next generation, right? Like then you lost it and you're gone, right? Like then it dies after that. And that's
but don't you want to do that? Yeah, don't you want to do that? Don't you I mean, I honestly want to go and stand in front of the entrance.
It's like Facebook Live or TikTok Live
and
or something.
And just have an honest conversation. I'm not going to be wearing an AEW shirt and be like, well, the other fucking alternative's so much better. I don't even care if you don't like AEW.
No, this is about WWE. Like, why?
It's why this.
Yeah, the only reason we say good things about AEW is because we like the AEW is here to, like, save us. Because Tom has even said this, like, I don't know that we'd be doing the show if they didn't exist at this point. WWE
I ain't talking about this bullshit every week. No. So,
we do this to get happy, not to fucking hate life.
And I'm so much happier with GCW, AEW, the amount of fun that they're doing right now. GCW and Jeff Jarrett, I fucking hate Jeff Jarrett. I pop for that. Yeah. He sucks.
He sucks. And yet, I'm instantly interested, and I'm like, somebody's got to kick Jeff Jarrett's ass. And like,
he's a cowboy in a renegade GCW promotion. What the fuck is that going to look like? Yeah!
It's like Kenny Rogers is going to get fucking light tubes beat on him.
Oh, for every... It's a GCW. Let's go again. Quick sidebar here. But GCW just understands their audience and how to create heels, because for everything that Matt Cardona represented, which was the anti-GCW, they did again with Jeff Jarrett. So the other side of the coin of what GCW isn't is everything Jeff Jarrett is. And a whole different person.
He's going against Effie, right? Like it's a whole different character, a whole different dilemma.
It's perfect. God bless them. They're so fucking cool.
Oh, and Effie and Jeff Jarrett, that's going to be money. Like, it's just, I know it. Like, as much as, like you said, I hate Jeff Jarrett. I hate
him.
I've
but
never
it's
been
going to
like,
be
I
fucking
can't wait
good.
to see this Jeff Jarrett match.
I'm into it now.
Ever.
Yeah.
Now I'm into it. Yep.
Now I'm totally into it.
Yep.
And then they're even bringing back other guys like at their GCW Detroit show. Kevin Nash is going to be there.
Yeah.
And then, dude, can we talk about this real quick? I know we're going to get back into tweet tables.
Show.
And again, we want to hear from you, but I want to hear you guys about this. So if you followed their last GCW show, the number one contender who will be challenging Jon Moxley for the championship at the Hammerstein Ballroom is Homicide.
Mm-hmm.
And guess who else is going to be on that GCW show from the Hammerstein Ballroom? Eddie fucking Kingston. What will Eddie Kingston do when Jon Moxley takes on Homicide?
So, Eddie Kingston speaks of Jon Moxley as a brother, as though he loves him like a brother. He speaks of Homicide as though he's a god and loves him like he's a god. So, it will be interesting.
I can't wait. I hope there's a moment where they put Eddie Kingston between a rock and a hard place and we get to see what he does. Because he's the perfect person to have that go through.
He's the best.
And
Eddie
if they
Kingston's
can carry
the
that
fucking guy, man.
And then if they can carry that over to AEW to where then Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston either are strengthened as a team or they go their separate ways, like chef's kiss. I can't wait.
Kingston.
I love pro wrestling.
Why Eddie Kingston is the guy is because he just encapsulates and presents the feeling of just annoyance and angst with the world around you that pretty much all of us feel, right? That like just like if rolling your eyes at stupidity was a character, it's Eddie Kingston. Right? And everybody see, and because it's subjective, everybody feels somebody else is stupid, right? It's subjective. Everybody has that moment where they're like, these fucking idiots around me, right? Like everybody's an idiot, but yet everybody's the smartest guy in the room, right? So that's why it works so well with Eddie Kingston, is because he just encapsulates that. When you feel that, you're like, yeah, I fucking feel that. I know that feeling. Like, Jesus Christ, you fucking dipshits won't shut the fuck up, and I just wanted a coffee, and like, I'm gonna beat your ass. Like, well, you just shut the fuck up. Here we are, god damn it, right? And now you gotta like shove the fucking table over and fight. Everybody feels that, and that's
and he's authentic.
Guy.
That's the other thing too, is he's authentic because you've put John Cena, you've put other characters, Hulk Hogan in WCW before he was in the NWO, and even when he was in the NWO, you put those characters in certain situations, and you go, well, but John Cena doesn't quit, so he's not going to quit in this one, right? But with Eddie Kingston, he might, like, he might give up on himself, right? Or he might fucking prevail, like. That's authentic. Like we also
there's a wave. It's not just like yay rah rah. Like we might see same thing happen with Hangman. Like we got a little bit of a up and down with him. Like he didn't just get it on the first go round. We had to be like, oh fuck.
And that's what makes the best characters. Right. Relatability. Anyhow, GCW's fucking awesome. AEW's fucking awesome. WWE can suck a dick. And I don't mean to be sexist or anything. Men and women can both do that. I don't give a fuck. And if you don't even identify as one of those two things, whatever.
All takers, whatever.
Yeah, all the fucking takers can do that shit. But like, I want to go and just fucking understand who likes this, man.
Yeah, but I think you're just gonna be more disappointed with the answer. You know what I mean?
But at least I know, because I feel like I'm yelling.
Gotta prove my worst fears.
Yeah, I feel like I'm yelling down a void. And I want to hear something back, Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, here's the final one, and it is about WWE, but maybe we can go with a little tangent here. And at Katie First Lady says, who would have predicted that Brock Lesnar would be WWE champion at the start of his 20th year? # tweet the table. Yeah, I mean, he was a big deal. Oh,
but it's not his real 20th, right? There was a long tangent where he was in the UFC.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, he wasn't doing this year in, year out for 20 years.
Yeah, but even at that, like, for me, all right, they're releasing everybody is WWE, right? Releasing a crap ton of people. A whole bunch of people. Seems like they're consolidating. They're going to go to one champion, right? Like, if you're going to consolidate and you're going to give me your Brock Lesnar's, even if it was a John Cena, like if you gave me people who we know like can capture an audience, will bring in ratings, if you're telling good fucking stories with it, that's great. That's better. I'm fine with that. I'd rather see that than fucking whatever you're going to call Elias next, right? Like, fine, great, but the bad story is the bad story no matter who you paste it on. So I'm not going to watch it while the story's bad. But if the story's good, well, fuck, Brock Lesnar's going to be better than a lot of the people doing it. It's just the problem is it's usually, I'm Brock Lesnar, no one can beat me, and that's true, right? So we just kind of go like, all right. You know?
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, to the credit, they've had a couple people knock him off, but it's still, you know.
But it was always this Brock Lesnar's caught off guard. Like, what I think the last story that needs to be told with Brock Lesnar that would be interesting, and maybe it happens with Bobby Lashley. Maybe I'm fucking over exaggerating and I'm missing the boat.
Somebody can overpower him.
But not even overpower him, but like, you know what Brock Lesnar did to John Cena at SummerSlam, where it was like laughing at him and still throwing him around? That's the last story that needs to be told with Brock Lesnar, is whoever that person is, like, Thanoses him and is just laughing at him as he's just kicking his fucking ass.
So, and this is what I'm saying. Like, let's say, okay, if your WWE TV is Brock Lesnar primarily, right? If he's a champion for, let's say, a couple of years, but like it's tail end of his career, he's now, you know what I mean, not as quick and not as, you know, he's still bigger than most, quicker than most, but he knows like, hey, I'm only going to do this for another year or whatever. Then you can run that storyline where Brock Lesnar isn't the Brock Lesnar he used to be, and he's going through his existential fucking crisis. Paul Heyman's trying to help, whatever. We could get amazing fucking television out of this, and we won't. I mean, right? Like, that's just, it's just not going to happen that way.
You're 100% correct.
God damn. Go. He's going to wrestle once a year, maybe, like the Undertaker did for a while. And then once in a while, he'll lose one and they'll be like, oh, I really put over the new kid, Damian Priest.
But he'll lose
kid.
In the same way he lost to Seth Rollins, where it's the ref is looking the other way. That wrestler got a low blow in on him and then just does 72 finishers, and then that's how he beats him.
God.
Whatevs. Hey, let's talk about, so that was the last tweet the table, correct?
That was the last tweet the table, yep.
Let's talk about something we actually like, and that was the debut of AEW Dynamite on TBS. We've been talking a little bit about what happened. We obviously hit pretty hard on the main event, so we won't do that again here, but there were some other things that happened that, Tim, I want your feedback on, and I feel like we should discuss because it puts us in a good mood. So let's do kind of a quick rundown, and we'll dive into what we want to, right? So it kicked off with the AEW World Heavyweight Championship match. Champion Hangman Adam Page taking on the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. Now, there was judges at ringside, Big Show, Mark Henry, Jerry Lynn. Even though they weren't ringside, they were just front row with the rest of the crowd. I thought that was weird. They weren't presented as like big time deals, but whatever. However,
they were
what
sitting
did you think
coach next to each other. You know what I mean? Like, like Jerry Lynn had no room. He didn't have an armrest.
Yeah.
So
yeah, how is he going to take notes?
I knew instantly. I don't think he did. I knew instantly we weren't going to the time limit when I saw our judges were Big Show, Mark Henry, and Jerry Lynn. I was like,
really?
I was like, this ain't. They're not going to be like, and now let's cut to the judges and be like, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck is Jerry Lynn going to say some shit? Like, I wasn't buying it, right? Like, I didn't think, I was like, this ain't it. This ain't it. So I knew we were going to get like an actual decide decision or some kind of muck to money it up. The match though, however, Jesus Christ, man, these guys, I was shocked that they went to like, let's bloody each other up this early into like, we're new on TBS, right? Like, here we go, everybody. Fucking Crimson Mask, both guys. I was like, wow, interesting choice.
Well, and also the part that kind of took me, back and kind of by surprise was how many headbutts there were during this match. Like, you don't see headbutts that often, and you saw about 700 in this match. And that's what I was like, hey, the other guy had to retire for 3 years because of head injuries. Like, I get we're doing it safe, breaking kayfabe, but like, what are we doing? Like, let's just kick each other in the chest or in the stomach or in the legs.
Right.
We could have picked a different body part there, So
right.
Now, see, I thought
Back his foot.
Exactly. Yeah. Break his wrist, make his hand be the thing. Now, Bryan Danielson went after Hangman's arm again because he does the lariat. So I thought that was pretty good storytelling. But see, when I saw the judges, I did think that we were going to go to decision. And I honestly thought, in my gut, I thought, oh shit, this is how we're going to get the Mark Henry match. Because remember, Mark Henry wants to do one more match. And I thought he was going to screw over the loser, right? He was going to say that person loses and whoever lost out of this match would then give the one match to Mark Henry. I thought that might have been happening. So I'm glad I was wrong. I thought it was a fantastic match. I liked how Bryan Danielson at the start kept looking at the judges and was like, look at this. I'm so good. I can do some jumping jacks. And then for Hangman to do a fucking burpee with blood coming down his forehead into his eyes was just such a fucking F you. Yeah, a blood burpee to Bryan Danielson. I thought that was perfect. This match was great. And he beat Hangman, that is, beat Bryan Danielson with a clean cover in the middle of the ring. Chef's kiss. As good as Winter is Coming, I thought this was 10 times better. I love this match.
Everybody knows you don't get any respect from the boys in the back until you do some bloody burpees.
Bloody burpees. You know what I mean? That is how you get to the next level in your fitness.
Everybody knows.
Oh my God. This, I know we're.
Shark Bait MMA.
Come on, right here. Right. There it is. New logo. Come on. Support
Blue
the school.
Springs, Missouri.
Come on with the Blue Springs. KC Metro.
Get fit.
I tell you what, though, it was January 5th, but this is instantly my match of the year. I know we've got a long time to go here, but like that's at the top. Now beat that. That was that good. I loved it. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was a really good match. I agree with you. It was really good. All right, what's next? What happened then?
So we follow up. This is how strong, in my opinion, AEW is. So we follow up that knockdown, drag out war between Hangman and Bryan Danielson with Shawn Dean versus MJF. But it really wasn't Shawn Dean and MJF, because before they could either land a strike on each other, CM Punk darts down to the ring. MJF runs away because he obviously doesn't want anything to do with CM Punk. And then CM Punk gives a GTS to Shawn Dean, which then means MJF loses. So he's 0-1 for the year. And then they have, part 2 of one of the best promo battles in wrestling history. Yeah. And they go jab for jab here.
They do go jab for jab here. I want to hone in real quick before we get into their promo battle. They hit a lot on Dynamite about how the records reset at the end of the year. And I know they always showed like the current year's numbers versus like an overall, but I didn't realize like, are they saying like for their rankings, it's just like a complete wash? Like didn't matter where you were December 31st and now like records reset January. Know what I mean?
So records reset, but like if you take into account like the women's division, right? The women's title, like Rio is still your number 1 contender, but number 5 can overthrow number 3 if they win 2 times and number 3 loses once, right? Yeah. Like it resets from the year.
Interesting.
So
just interesting.
It's very
have
interesting.
Like a term like that, because like if you're doing shitty at the end of December, like you have no incentive to be like, better ratchet up. I'll just wait till January and then I'll start beating some ass.
Well, yeah. Or you might say like momentum's not real or momentum is real. And so I got to win some matches, either way. But I thought that was interesting too, that how everything resets and now we're clean slate. Yeah. But I like that too, because then it could say a loser in 2021 can then be a winner in 2022 with a record of 11-2 or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
New year, new me.
Exactly.
But the promo battle is great. I like CM Punk is like, this is your future, man. Like you're not going to fight anybody until you fight me. Like that's, I like that. That's good.
So it ends though. And again, we could go line for line, but I feel like we wouldn't be doing it justice. But
nobody is listening to this and probably didn't watch the show.
Right. Exactly. So it ends though with MJF saying, all right, fine. Then it's going to be CM Punk versus Wardlow next week. Ooh. And so right after that, we get Wardlow just beating the holy fuck out of some poor bastard with 17 power bombs. What do you think about Wardlow CM Punk next week?
That's interesting because I feel like these two stories that they were next to each other weren't ready to come to a head, right? Like we're just getting into the, what do they call it? The power bomb jamboree or whatever the fuck they call it, right? And and now he's got to go play the bad guy to CM Punk like that. I don't know, man. We were getting behind Wardlow for a face turn. Now I know, like, we can maybe do that at the thing, but
that's what I think is going to happen. I think we're going to be putting Wardlow in situations
Symphony.
where
Powerbomb Symphony.
That's what they're calling it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to be putting Wardlow in situations where maybe the ref's down and Wardlow thinks he can beat CM Punk, but MJF is like saying, pick him up. I want to hit him with my diamond
Powerbomb
ring.
Symphony. No, they make him go for the Powerbomb Symphony this time. And CM Punk keeps taking a bunch of them, and he's like, I can pin him. They're like, don't pin him yet. No, do your fucking thing. And he's like, all right, whatever. And then CM Punk fucking toughs it out, but finds the fucking schoolboy or something, or gets a nut punch and fucking steals a victory. And then he's like, you motherfuckers, right? They could be like, hey, sorry, guy. We always told you don't fucking do that.
Right. Well, yeah. And I mean, I think this is when that story comes to a head. I think we're still going to get MJF, CM Punk somehow. But if you've been paying attention to Wardlow and really his ascension as a babyface, the first person I think he has to get through is accountability buddy, Sean Spears.
Yep.
So I think Sean Spears is going to be the one that maybe cost him this match. And then MJF, CM Punk do their thing. And then MJF is going to circle back and be like, hey, you motherfucker, I lost to CM Punk because he was at 100% because you didn't do your job. And then we're going to MJF and Wardlow.
Is going to work his ass off for fucking Wardlow. He's going to make him look like he fucking killed him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be great. I'm excited. That's going to be a fun spectacle next week. CM Punk versus Wardlow. All right. So then after that, again, with in-ring action here, we get the TBS Championship final. Jade Cargill versus Ruby Soho. And your first ever TBS champion is one Jade Cargill. What'd you think of this whole segment?
Yeah, I figured I called this even. I think most people understood this title was for her. Yeah, she's still improving in the ring. I don't think she's great.
Oh, but I mean, look at her. Like, you're not watching to see fucking arm drags.
She's not horrific, right? Like, she's not like, this is terrible to watch.
She's not Kali.
Right. So it's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
So this was the most interesting segment to me, just as a outsider, not outsider, but like looking at it from a who's over, who's not, because Jade Cargill comes out, she gets boos, right? As she should. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that maybe her time is done, but it was damn near crickets. It sounded like for Ruby Soho.
Yeah.
And then
we had a tear-jerking moment at the end of the...
Well, but before that, we had Mercedes Martinez try to beat up Ruby Soho. And the pop of the segment was actually Thunder Rosa running down to take out Mercedes Martinez. Yep. So if you were like, well, who's the most popular person in this person segment? It's Thunder Rosa. Like,
which we could have told you that.
Right. And so you almost think like, again, now we have two heel champions with Britt Baker and Jade Cargill.
Yeah. Well, but I also didn't come away with heel heat for her. Like, she had her fucking husband and daughter out there, and she's holding her up and shit. And I'm like, that's cool. Right?
Yeah.
Like, nice.
And that was the other thing I was going to mention is, you pay attention to their social media, and the photos that they're posting as Jade Cargill as champion is her holding her daughter with the championship up on the top of the ramp.
You were that bitch.
Right.
Like,
and so
like, it doesn't fit.
Yeah, now you're that mother. And so that was interesting. And yeah, it just a lot of confusion.
Great. Wonderful. All for that. But like, that's endearing. I like that. Like, that's positive. Mm-hmm. I don't boo that. I'm not going to boo that. I'm not a monster. I mean, not kind of sometimes, not for that.
Not with that.
Right? Yeah, not with that thing. I'm a decent guy with that. Yeah, interesting. I thought that was interesting. But I did, and then is Ruby just going to now battle with DMD because she won't leave her alone and keeps giving her shit in the back about it?
So I think the way it's going to go is I think we need Jamie Hayter to battle with someone. And I think it's going to be Jamie Hayter, Ruby Soho. Because they're doing a tag match on Rampage where it's Ruby versus Britt and Jamie. And I think it's going to be Jamie and Ruby doing their fun stuff. Rio?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I hope so.
Yeah.
Look, the reason, and this is going to sound horrible, I don't mean it to be, but the reason why the women's division got off to a shitty start in AEW is Rio is about as bland as it gets and 62 pounds. And again, Marco Stunt's great. I love him. He's the smallest guy on the roster. I'm not saying that size, you have to look like Braun Strowman. However, if Rio ain't cutting good promos and Rio's offense looks like a 12-year-old, I don't fucking care, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, yeah. And so, yeah, she better not beat Britt Baker. God damn, that would be the worst mistake of the year.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But now where does Jade Cargill go? Because she has the muscle, even though she is the muscle, with Mercedes Martinez. Where do you see her going?
I mean, who are the like up and coming faces on the women's roster? So I mean, Thunder Rosa is a candidate. It's always kind of a battle, but I feel like you can't. Thunder Rosa's got to win it, right? Like I don't want to like.
Well, again, if it's me, if I got the pencil here, as they say, I'm still doing Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker, right? Like Jade Cargill can go with Tay Conti. I think Tay Conti is a great first choice. Contender.
Great choice. Yep. By
the way, sidebar again here. That tag team match on Rampage, New Year's Eve,
was my early candidate for match of the year. Like when I think of January, I'm gonna be like, okay, that's one of them. That like.
Well, but that was New Year's Eve, so that was technically 2021.
But we had already done our award show.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if we're saying
fiscal year.
Fiscal year. I like that. Yeah. Christ almighty, was that match insane?
I watched it in January. How about that, motherfucker?
I watched it twice. I watched it live on TV, and then those fucking countdown shows were so annoying. I watched the match again.
Nice. Yeah, I watched it a second time just because the first time I wasn't able to like fully watch, but I knew something was going on. Then I was like, holy fuck, I need to like rewatch this.
How incredible.
Great.
All four women.
Great. And so not, we've talked about this before, and not to like denigrate and say that like women can't do these things, but we've said like part of the thing with the women and they're like, oh my God, it's great. This is the first time the women ever did this, is we were like, yeah, but sometimes it was before they were ready. Like they weren't quite the athletes. They weren't quite the wrestlers. And it showed in the ring to people who can see that stuff.
Right.
And none of that. I felt none of that with these folks. This felt like they had all been doing hardcore wrestling matches for a decade.
Oh, and that finish I thought was so original, where the bunny thinks that she has the brass knuckles, is going to go up against Anna Jay. She slips on the thumbtacks and then gets put in a barbed wire chokehold.
Yeah.
That's a GCW finish.
The whole match could have been on a GCW event. And that's what I meant. Like it was so, when I say realistic, I mean, because, we're talking pro wrestling here in a hardcore match, but like the believability of the fight was top notch. Again, like if this were a few months from now and we had a couple candidates, like I still feel like that's going to be up there for me for match of the year candidate. Like it was
fantastic.
Great.
It was
great.
Incredible. That the goddamn table not breaking, and then Conti takes Penelope Ford's shin like twice in her face. Good Christ. Credit to those women.
Yeah.
Do it again. Run that back. You know what I mean? Like I'm not a big fan of rematches all the time.
Match.
Yeah, let's make that a lights out match. Fuck yeah. Let's do an all women's special event and have Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker, and your co-main event is those tag matches.
We know the Thunder Rosa throwdown.
That's
GCW even. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, do those two matches on a special women's night event. I'm all for that. Anyhow. Let's get back on track. Back in the ring. Well, actually, before we get into the ring, we get an interview with Peter Griffin talking about the chicken. And what I mean is Serena Deeb talking about Hikaru Shida. Looks like they're going to fight again. Hashtag fight forever. How much fun is this?
I love that Serena Deeb also, she embodies the spirit of like, listen, I've given up trying to pretend that any of you actually give a shit about anything I've got, like, that any of this is about. Like, let me tell you what's going to happen here. I'm coming in here to beat the shit out of somebody, and then I'm going to go home, and I'm going to fucking, like, get up in the morning and come back and do it again. So, like, just fucking leave me alone. I'm going to kick your ass. What questions do you have? You know what I mean? Like, she's fucking like, this is bullshit. Everybody knows I'll fucking slice your fucking throat, and I'm going to do it Saturday, motherfucker, or whatever it is, And, like, it's just one of those, like, get in my way if you dare.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening.
I
love it.
I just can't wait. I have always been a fan of Hikaru Shida's in-ring work. Outside of her character development and promos and her title reign, again, lackluster, but her in-ring work, spectacular. And this is the way to do it, where she goes up against a serial killer in Serena Deeb, and she herself is a samurai.
She does look like a sociopathic serial killer.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You have a serial killer and a samurai. Like I said, make this Peter Griffin and the Chicken, if you understand that Family Guy reference, and have them fight forever.
Yeah.
Even let's just say it goes to a draw. Let's just say it goes to a draw, and then they decide, let's go Serena Deeb and Anna Jay, Hikaru Shida and Mercedes Martinez, right? Like, let's say that. Again, they see each other backstage, and it's a fucking fist fight again. And like, we don't care about the feuds we're in. We hate these people,
Look, and that's also relatable because, again, almost everybody's had somebody that they've come across in their life where it's just like the personalities, like too many things line up, right? Personality's wrong. The relationships that brought you to to me knowing you is wrong. You smell bad, right? Those three things all together, and it's just like, I can't be around this person, or we're gonna fucking have a problem. Oftentimes it's family. Like, you know what I mean? It's somebody in the family, you know?
Oh, Ben Whittaker. Ben Whittaker, if you're watching this, I'll fuck you up anytime. It's on site. I've hated you since high school. I will fight you again. I will fight you tomorrow. I will fight you right now on this live stream.
We've been doing this show 8 years, and I've never heard this name.
I hate him.
So whenever we were like, "Is that motherfucker? You know who you are." It's Ben.
Yeah,
Ben
it's
Whittaker.
him. It's Ben Whittaker. I fucking hate you so bad. You asshole of life. If I see you, I'm punching you in the face. Like, yeah, I think every person has it. I know I do.
I have to find Ben Whittaker now.
Oh, I hope you do. He's probably still out there in Independence, Raytown, Lee Summit, and I'll fuck him up every single time. I hate that guy. Hate him. Fuck you, bud.
Figured out who you are.
Yeah, that's what it is. Well, I want to make this storyline more relatable because I feel that way. That's what Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida need to be, where they fucking fight each other every time, right?
Yeah.
Like, if I'm in real life having a dispute with a coworker and we happen to see each other at a restaurant, I'm not gonna like that person, but my attention is gonna go right to Ben Whittaker if he walks in that fucking door. You know what I mean?
I've had to tell people, especially in the military, there was a couple people that it just kind of came to that, and we had to, in the military, you can't fight it out every time you get in trouble, so we had to just be like, listen, motherfucker, like, we're just like, you're not gonna fucking say shit around me. I'm not gonna fucking say shit around you, and just like, if we gotta leave the fucking room or something, but like, just fucking stop, or else we're both going to get kicked out of here because we're fucking fighting. You know what I mean? Like, I had to say to a couple people, like, why don't you just keep my fucking name out of your mouth? And
I just hate him. I hate that guy. I know what he's thinking about me, and he knows what I'm thinking about him. I hate that motherfucker so bad. Anyhow, so then after that,
was fun.
We got back into the ring. I'm telling you, man. Yes. This is what you get when you listen to Spanish Announce Table. You get some real relatable shit. This is why I like Serena Deeb versus Hikaru Shida so much, is because I live it too.
Listen to this podcast right now might be living next door to Ben Whittaker and not even realize.
I hope they are. I will, seriously. Come to this school
like,
right
hey,
here.
Neighbor Ben.
Yeah.
What's that rock saying on your front porch? Does that say Whittaker?
Yeah. Look. Google the address for Sharkbait MMA Jiu-Jitsu, and I'll be there.
We'll do it live on
Saturday.
On the Spanish Announce Table live stream.
I will beat your. I would just love to watch you suffer. Anyhow, I hate him.
All right, that's great. This is fun.
So, yeah, okay, I got to get out of that mindset. So we get back into the ring, and we get Malachi Black taking on Brian Pillman Jr. And this is where I think we're moving away from Varsity Blondes, because Malachi Black dispatches of Brian Pillman Jr. pretty easy. Then we get Malachi Black putting the boots to him after the match. And I think the tie-in here is, so the Lucha Bros come out to chase off Malachi Black. I think the tie-in is they still don't like Malachi Black for what they did to Pac, right? So it makes a little bit of sense that way.
Yeah. Well, I think
What
it
do you
kind of
think
wrote
about that?
itself now. So I think, like you said, it was going to be Brody King's going to show up, and it was going to be Lucha Bros taking on, the House of Black, but it might just now be Penta and
Malachi Black,
Pillman.
which I mean,
But,
look, that'll be
but I mean, it
fun.
could be Penta and Pillman versus the tag team of
Right, yeah, mm-hmm.
because Phoenix is injured.
Yeah, I think they would. If I have the pencil here, I'm going to pivot to just a one-on-one
Sure,
match.
it's not how I'd write it.
Yeah,
But,
but if I have to pivot because let's say Rey Fenix is out for 5 months or whatever it is, I'm going to pivot to just Malachi Black, sit on Brody King debuting for as long as it takes for Rey Fenix to get back, and then it's going to be Malachi Black Penta for 5 weeks, 4 weeks, or however long it needs to be.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Because here's the great thing about AEW and the depth of their roster is we just went through a 5 out of 5 show, in my opinion. And we didn't even talk about one of my favorite wrestlers right now, and that's Miro.
Yeah.
Miro.
So that's just it. Like you said, it could be 5 weeks, but that would only be 2 times we see him maybe in 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Right. Yeah. Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention here, after the Wardlow match before the Jade Cargill, we also got Chris Jericho coming out to the ring, and he cuts not a great promo. Man,
Just
he looked
commercial.
Well, he looked like shit. No offense. I'm not out here looking like a supermodel, so I'm not trying to say, but I'm saying for his standards, he looked tired and bloated, and his hair piece was still being glued on or whatever the hell was happening to his forehead. Looks aside, though, the fucking 90s South Park jokes that he was making, and I know I made a reference to Family Guy, but I wasn't using that as like a diss on someone. I was just using that as an example. But like he called them, what do you call them? The South Park reference, the two talking Canadian. There you go. Call them Terrence and Phillips. He kept saying pinhead and squarehead.
Dude, I could. So, okay, my son's 14, right? So that's on the younger side of an audience, right, that we're talking about. But people he knows and hangs out with are 18-year-olds, right? And so go a few years older than that. A lot of these folks, literally, I'm going to ask, as soon as we're done recording here, I'm going to go ask my son, do you know what South Park is? Probably doesn't.
Or at least has heard of it, kind of like The Simpsons, but doesn't watch.
Hey, let me tell you, my son didn't know who Betty White was.
Well, your son needs to watch the Golden Girls.
Bad parenting.
Yeah, God damn it.
But just things like that, right? So, you know what I mean? Like, well, we were discussing 9/11 even because it came up in random conversation somehow, but he was like, yeah, we learned about it. And I'm just like, oh, that's fucking right. Because he was born like 6 years after it. You know what I mean? I'm like, you really don't have a frame of reference for this shit. South Park is so, I mean, like, yes, it's still around. And some people like know what it is, but like, it's not the cultural icon that this young crowd is probably like, oh my God, he said, Yeah.
Well, and to your point, if you say, Terrence and Phillips, okay, South Park fans will know that, but like with your son, he might know of South Park, but never know of Terrence and Phillips, right? Like I don't watch The Simpsons. So if you say The Simpsons, I'm like, oh, I know what you're talking about. If you name, I don't know, a character in there. I mean, like, I don't know who the fuck that is. Right. So like, yeah, but even on top of that, just the squarehead, pinhead kind of, it was stupid.
Now, don't get me wrong. The guy does have a square head, so that's great for that guy, right? When he's insulting that guy on 2.0, because he's got a square head, and that's fun. But like,
there's so much more you could do. But
he always does Jericho has always been this way. And it was when he was the young kid, you know what I mean, mucking up the professionalism of The Rock and whatever, like that was cool to be like, nana nana boo boo, you know what I mean? Like, and just like, I'm just going to shit on your whole thing because, you know what I mean? I'm just shitting on your thing just because fuck your thing, right? Like that works when you're young, brash, but when you're the 50-year-old guy demanding respect, then it just feels weird. It feels like you're the creepy guy in the club.
Yeah, it just, to me, with 2.0, there's so much more we could talk about as far as disses. Just their presentation, the overtop you want to taste and all that. Like, you went with his head? You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. But afterwards, so they jump him, right?
Yeah.
2.0, that is. But we get Eddie Kingston. And Santana and Ortiz. What's happening?
I was surprised that we didn't get Jericho being like, fuck you. You know what I mean? You know what? How about I want yours? Like, fuck you. Well, I'm surprised we
But he
didn't get
came
that.
out with his guys. He came out with Santana and Ortiz. So
Right. If you're gonna go,
what do you think
ride or
happens
die.
here? Yeah, does
I think
Santana and
we're gonna-
Ortiz?
I think we're gonna get Jericho versus Eddie Kingston somehow.
Okay,
Which would be
but
fine.
like, so where does Santana and
Yeah, I
Ortiz
don't
play
know.
in
I
this
think
role?
they get a lot of their whole like washing their hands of things, and then I don't know if we get a moment where they like Caesar Jericho or not. I don't know.
And then you get a new LAX like it was in
I would love it. Oh, I would
Impact
love
Wrestling.
it. God, I would love it.
Because look, Eddie Kingston has had factions before. He was with the Lucha Bros. He was with Butcher and the Blade. So he's done that before.
Nobody anytime soon is begging for the Inner Circle to ride again as a unit. So like, great, split them up, because then you can have, even if you got Eddie Kingston and LAX versus the 3 remaining Inner Circle guys, right? Like for a little while, like short little blip, and then they just kind of absolve. And then they're like, all right, whatever, Hager, you suck anyway. And then
Sammy tried to
Guevara
go do
will have,
something.
he will have committed some other kind of Me Too act, and then it'll be out of there.
Hey, take it easy. All right, so that was AEW. Again, we Jurassic Express becomes your new tag team champions. We kind of talked about that a couple different times.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to get your feedback on a couple things coming up on Saturday. So again, Friday is Rampage. If you want to know the results, read it. I don't. We got Hook on Friday night.
Send
Can't
Hook.
wait for that. Yeah, send Hook, motherfuckers. But on Saturday night, we got Battle of the Belts. 2 big matches there. Cody defending his TNT championship against Sammy Guevara, and then Britt Baker versus Rio. What do you think happens in these 2 matches? Champions retain? We're getting a new champion? What happens here?
No, I think champions retain both times. And I'm going to be like, it'll be fine. But I think the matches will be underwhelming for me.
You think they do something big because it's the first Battle of the Belts and they finally pull the trigger with Cody?
Yeah, I mean, maybe Cody uncomfortably murders Sammy Guevara.
Because he has to. Maybe Arn Anderson is the one that is the catalyst for Cody to turn heel. Arn Anderson gives him the permission, like, do what we need, that needs to get done. And then he's
passes
like,
the Glock,
right.
if you will.
Yeah, exactly. Huh? It's, at least I wouldn't say but it feels like every time they do a first time event, winter is coming, the first Rampage on TNT,
Look,
something's memorable there.
Mafia'd up Cody, dressed to the nines, healing out on folks is better than what they're giving me now. So may sound a little cliche and passe, but it's better than this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and you make Arn Anderson the buffer for Cody to where Cody doesn't even talk anymore?
Now listen to me. Ric Flair is there, and Arn Anderson could be there, and Tully is there. We could see the new version of the Horseman with Cody fucking leaning toe. He's the fucking blonde bombshell there again in the front.
Well, so
and then you have Arn Anderson's fucking son could be in it, for fuck's sake.
But yeah, well, with Ric Flair specifically, if you've been looking online on Andrade's Twitter, he brought up that he's going after Darby Allin. And he mentions, hey, Darby, you have a legend. I've got a father-in-law. And so it might be Ric Flair representing Andrade,
so the
Darby
new Four
Allin,
Horsemen
Sting.
with Flair, Arn, and Tully. Could it be Cody, Andrade, and then FTR?
Well, then you got the Pinnacle. What are you going to do with the Pinnacle?
Fuck, the Pinnacle's not real.
But I mean, MJF isn't going to just let them leave, right? So
but that's part of it. He's going to fight.
You turn him babyface?
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe because look, Wardlow's already going to be done. MJF's going to be like, oh, everybody turned on you. Well, everybody turned on you because you're a sack of human shit to everybody.
And then he goes babyface a little bit. I mean, he could do it. Yeah. I wouldn't go FTR. No, I wouldn't put them in another faction.
I just said that because of Tully, because he's already
well,
there
yeah.
with him. But maybe he turns on them, but who would be the tag team, if you will?
Well, I wouldn't put a tag team because then you put Sean Spears, right? Mm-hmm. Throw him in there because he's a good utility guy.
Okay.
And then...
yeah, because that could be the Tully tie.
Right, that's the Tully tie.
So you got Cody. I said Andrade because of the Flair thing, right? So then you got Sean Spears. We put in Brock's kid or Brock Anderson.
So who's the fourth horseman that you're bringing? Are you bringing in Barry Windham?
No, that's what. Well, no, it's just fucking. It's Arn Anderson's fucking kid. Because
Well,
Cody's
no,
not a Horseman's kid, you know.
Right. But what you could do is have 4 of them be represented, and
could
Ric
have
Flair's
Wyatt.
represented by Andrade, and then you do Wyndham Rotunda. You don't do Bray Wyatt. You call him Wyndham Rotunda.
Right.
And he's
And
representing.
he's not a creepy, weird character. He's fucking pulling the suits and the fucking
Exactly.
Horseman gig.
Because you already got the weird shit with
And
Malachi.
the stories that he could tell when they finally disintegrate. God damn it.
And then
That
when
needs to
he
be on
loses his mind and goes into like a Miro type of
most of the people
existential
released,
crisis.
I know we were like, please stop signing so many people. No more people. Like, I would have wiped away most of them if you would have gave me Wyatt with creative, some idea of creative control over himself over on AEW.
Oh God.
That guy's, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I think you got to check him a little bit. You know,
Yeah,
we said
but-
like he's hard to understand sometimes, but
But I think
he's
the
so much more of
wrestlers
an in-depth
would.
storyteller.
Yeah,
You know what I
I
mean?
think the wrestlers would check him on that, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you say God's favorite champion, Miro, versus Bray Wyatt, Miro's going to say some things of like, we're not going to get that crazy. I need to have this
Right.
happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, well, there's some, but yeah, bring in Wyndham Rotunda as and everyone's like, what the fuck is that? And he's like, motherfuckers, what's up? Bring in Barry
You know
Windham.
what it is? Like the
Yeah,
lineage.
bring in-
fucking history.
Bring in Barry Windham. You have it, and you have them fucking take out everyone. They break up the inner circle. They break up Team
'Cause they
Taz.
said like it's factions. Everywhere we see, be like, nobody knows how to do that, right?
right.
You're all pretenders. You're all
Have
one of
them go
these.
after the Undisputed Era.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, because that's what Ric Flair could say. Like, I thought we already told you. If you want to be the man, you got to beat the man, and none of you are the man. Right?
Andrade.
These guys
Yeah.
right here, right?
Right,
These
yeah.
guys here are the man in the mask. All right. Fucking zipper.
That's the one thing
Fucking-
with this faction warfare, though, that I will say that not that there needs to be an end game, because again, stories always evolve and they continue and
Someone's
continue
gotta
and
win it,
continue.
right?
But at least one has to be like, we're not going after just another group. We're going after all you motherfuckers, and we're taking you all out. Like, there needs
Right.
to be a
We're
pecking
the
order.
top dogs.
Right. Because the super elite say it, right? And they were the champions all at one time, and that's fine. But like, they were only feuding with Hangman. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is when, and you could do a stadium stampede with how the fucking, you do the blow off. But yeah, there needs to be one fucking faction that's saying like, we're taking all of you out. Team Taz, you're gone. Pinnacle, you're gone. Inner Circle, you're gone. Super
What was that
elite,
guy's fucking
you're
name?
gone.
Ben Wicked. What the fucking
Ben Whittaker. Fuck
Whittaker?
that guy.
Yeah, he's gone. Too.
Hate that motherfucker. Yeah, you don't need a faction to take him out. Just call me up. I'll fuck
All
him
right.
up.
Yeah,
I
fuck
beat
him.
him up in high school, and I beat him up after high school,
Is
and
the
I'll
statute
beat him
of
up.
Limitations ended on this.
I beat his ass so bad one time, he had to call the principal, and I had to apologize to him in the principal's office. As a junior, I beat the fuck out of him. Oh my God, it was so good. I hit him like, boom, and I was taking the fucking locker, and I was, you motherfucker.
You talked to a therapist about this, didn't you?
I do every other
Yeah,
Wednesday,
right,
but
yeah.
like, fuck that guy.
That's what this show is, goddamn.
Haven't you understood? No, I wouldn't. He has kids now and everything. I wouldn't want to
Yeah,
beat him up
right.
in
Wouldn't
front
want
of
to
his
embarrass
kids.
him in front
If
of his
he
kids.
decides to come at
Kids
me,
don't need that trauma.
right? They don't
Yeah.
need to know that their dad is a pussy. But like, if he wants to come at me, you know what I mean? But I don't want to ruin their kid's life knowing that their dad's their mom.
Well, is there any more about the Dynamite, or do we? I think
Well, Battle of the Belts.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for that, because if it's something monumental, which again, all indications might be that this is going to be a crazy ass show, we might do emergency podcast on YouTube. So check back for that. Friday night, again, send Hook. I didn't read results. I don't like to read results, even though we heard about Jake Atlas. But excited for that. We got a lot of fun things. And then next week, Serena Deeb, Hikaru Shida. Love it. Cannot wait.
All right, and with that, use hashtag tweet the table. In the meantime, Tom's going to go do some bloody burpees and prepare to fight Ben Whittaker.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week.
The Spanish announce table.